Hi guys, welcome back to Undisputed Interviews. Today's guest is UFC middleweight Nick Klein. Is it Klein or Klein?
Fine.
Klein. How are you today, sir?
Good, man. Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. A little worried the interview wasn't gonna happen. Um, obviously, no, I have no problem with kids are way more important than an interview. First of
Oh,
all,
dude, they
first of
just kind
all,
of they take the schedule once in a while, and
yeah,
they've
yeah,
got they've got the highest priority in the brain. So I spaced on the meeting a little bit. I apologize about that.
it's all good, bro. I just turned 18, so I took up every single day for my mom. So I have no. I'm a very rambunctious kid.
Yeah. Well, aren't we all?
Yeah, I mean, let's get into this though. My first question is, how did you get into the MMA and UFC scene, and like, what was it a certain fighter, and like, what made you want to become a professional MMA fighter?
I think it really just came down to it kind of just checked all the boxes for me. I wanted to wrestle collegiately, but I wasn't going to pursue any sort of college degree.
Yeah,
I knew I was going to kind of fall right into just kind of trades work and stuff after high school, but I still wanted to compete. I played football for a long time, and I had wrestled a couple of years in high school and did well with it, and really just kind of wanted to chase that competitive fire. Um,
yep,
and at the same time, it just gave me an outlet for I guess kind of just my rambunctious and restlessness, and
yeah,
helps keep me in shape and just kind of gives me something to work toward. So took one fight and the rest was history after training for about a year and just never stopped going to practice, I guess.
yeah. I'm an amateur boxer, so I get that feeling. I love it. I kind of started in high school too. What year did you start in?
Say again?
What year in high school did you start wrestling?
Oh, I wrestled my junior and senior year in high school.
I feel like those like the most like popular years people join. To be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was kind of an agreement that I made with a good friend of mine. We needed a wide receiver on our football team, and
Mm-hmm.
this was right in between football season and wrestling season, my junior year. My buddy's guy, he was just tall, he had long reach and stuff, and I'm like, dude, you need to go out for football next season. He's like, I'll go out for football next season if you go out for wrestling this season. And I went out for wrestling, dude. It was one of the best choices I made. So super glad I did it.
Yeah, I mean, you said you went to a trade school, right? After high school?
I didn't go to trade school.
Oh,
I
okay.
just I got into construction and stuff kind of as soon as I graduated. I worked at a steel mill for a little bit, then
Yeah.
worked construction, and then worked at a fabrication shop, and then went back to construction. So
So is that kind of where your nickname Blue Collar came from? Because one of my questions was, how did you get your nickname, and like why did you choose Blue Collar as like your nickname to for your fighter?
oh well, my coaches and my team around me kind of chose blue collar for me just because I was always training in like my work shirts and stuff after practice, and I
Okay.
knows that I was coming. I was showing up in the gym with concrete still splattered on my face and shit. So it was just I really was just kind of wearing the work while I was doing the training and stuff for the fight. But I don't know, man. I think Wellman Termaker or whatever his name is, he's gonna kind of take the blue collar thing from me here, that young kid who keeps getting the knockout wins. He's like the
Oh,
welder by
Malcolm
day.
Wellmaker,
He's on a tear. He's gonna steal the blue collar name, man. But good for him.
dude. He's good. He's
Yeah,
really
yeah. That
good.
that I don't know if that's like a lead hook or a rear hook that he's been sleeping all them guys with, but it's a stinger.
Dude, I feel like he throws it as a backhand, and while it throws it, for it to be the lead hand when it lands.
Yeah.
The one he just
However,
got,
however he's doing it, them guys ain't seeing it.
that one he just got this past weekend was absolutely nasty.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. He slept. That was Moutinho, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
that's a bummer for
literally
that guy, man.
he made O'Malley look like he has pillow hands, which is
Yeah,
crazy because O'Malley snipes people.
yeah, yep.
But
But
you train at what's it called? All right, you train at I have the gym. Sorry. Is it Vito MMA, right? For you?
Pura
Oh
Vida,
no.
yeah. Pura,
Yeah,
Pura
Pura
Vida
Vita. I didn't
JJ.
see the
My
Pura.
man.
I forgot to write the Puva. But you
Yeah,
train at Pura Vita with the likes of Monto Jackson, Corntavious Romanus, Ricky Glenn, Mauricio Rodriguez, and a couple other guys. And since going to that gym, how has it helped to improve like your MMA skills, your fight IQ, and just like your overall career, if you will?
I really just think the whole atmosphere there is just really good at kind of putting together, just the puzzle to make complete fighters.
Yeah.
I think all in all aspects, from just the coaching to just the culture and the team and the training partners and stuff. It really is just a good atmosphere to breed talented
Hmm.
fighters.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been trying to. Me and Montel Jackson were DMing. I want to say January about an interview, and then I
Sure,
never heard, nothing back. And then he got booked for the May thing. So I was
sure.
like, I'm just gonna ask him after his fight, but I just never did. So I was like, but
Gotcha.
Montel Jackson's super underrated. He's so
Yeah,
good.
yeah. He doesn't he's pretty stoic with it. He don't say a whole lot, but in the gym, I get to see a different side of him at the gym. He's a good dude, man. Montel's
Yeah.
super cool.
I don't know if you know, but after he fought what was his name? Damon Blackshear. Was he dealing with an injury or something?
Montel?
Yeah, because he knocked the dude out really quick and then he took a while to come back. So I just figured it was like an injury.
Yeah, I think that was I I I don't want to say I guess I don't want to give a reason on why it took so long for him to find an opponent. I think it was just maybe the matchmakers and management
Okay.
taking their time and trying to find the
Yeah.
right guy. But I don't recall him being injured at all. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Because he fought Damon Blackshear, I want to say in July, I believe.
Yeah,
And then like I think around February or like right before his fight got announced with Daniel Marcos, I was looking at the bantamweight rankings and I was like, bro, where's Montel Jackson been? I
yeah.
was like, oh my God. So I was like, bro, I hope I get to interview him so I could ask what happened. But that's crazy.
Yeah. No, I think, like I said, I think matchmakers and management were just looking to find him the right fight and stuff. And I think he's going to be looking at getting a guy in the top 15 or the top 10 here now for his next
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah,
So,
him and Patchy Mix would be cool. I know Patchy lost, but still, that's a good guy. Him
yeah,
versus Patchy Mix would be dope.
yep,
Your last fight, or not your last fight, your upcoming fight against Andre Puliev, I believe his name,
yep.
August 2nd. What was it? Sorry.
I was just agreeing with you. I
Oh,
said
okay, okay. Yeah, Andre Puliev, August 2nd. You both are coming off losses. When this fight was offered, did you see certain holes in his game where you're like, okay, I have the tools and I have the IQ to expose this guy? And did you see his last fight live against Christian Leroy Duncan?
I did watch his last fight. I don't watch a whole lot of film, but my coaches kind of grabbed me for this one, and they just kind of walked. I watched his Contender Series fight, and I
Mm-hmm.
watched his UFC debut, and just out of those two fights, my coaches kind of picked out certain things that we're going to try and exploit, and
Yep.
that's really all the time I'm going to spend on his film. There's certainly things he does um, and then there's certainly things I think that I can capitalize on. And
Yep.
yeah, I think I'm just going to leave it at that. He's a tall, lanky guy. He's got a lot of length and he's got a lot of height, and I think that's going to present its own set of challenges. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely think I have all the tools to go in and get the job done as well.
Yeah, because I know your last fight with Mensur Abdul Malik, you took on, I believe, like a week's notice. You took it on pretty short notice, I
It
believe.
was, yeah. I mean, I think I accepted the fight with like 3 or 4 weeks or something. I know
Okay.
I had like 3 weeks to train for it. So,
Yep. I remember when you were announced, I didn't know who you were. I'm gonna be honest. I had no clue who you were. I just like hadn't heard your name. So I went back and watched a couple of your fights, and I was like, I remember thinking like I think like 2 nights before the fight, I was watching like one of your regional fights. I forget against who, and I was like, why do I see this dude coming out here knocking Mansoor Abdul Malik out just like randomly in the third round when he's down 2 rounds, and then obviously the fight comes. You hit him with a spinning elbow
yeah.
and almost drops him. And I'm like, dude, Nick Klein is
Yeah,
actually pretty damn good for a
yeah.
UFC debut.
I was there was a lot of things kind of factoring into that fight. I guess one it came about like short notice, which I did kind of like. I guess I
Hmm.
just had thought I would have had a little bit more time to prepare. And Mansoor had fought a close teammate of mine, Wesley. And
Yep, 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 yep.
so I felt like I kind of had a little bit of a leg in on what Mansoor liked to do, just because my main training partner had already gotten in there with him, and so I knew there was certain facets of the fight that I would be able to do well with. But at the end of the day, dude, he's just a powerhouse. He's a big
Yep.
strong dude, and I think it's going to take a top 10 guy really to put him away, or beat him. And even that, those guys in the top 10 or the top 15, they're not just going to walk through him. They're going to kind of have to dismantle him because he's too big and powerful to just go out and sleep. I mean, maybe some of those guys at the top can, but I think if you give him like a Greg Rodriguez or like a Jared Cannonier, those guys would be able to do pretty well against him.
Yep.
But I think just lower guys that are lower on the middleweight totem pole are just going to have a tough time with him. He's a handful. And the other thing too is he hasn't been fighting that long. He's got a lot of time to improve.
Yep. 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 He's
He's
like 26, I believe.
yeah,
He's
he's
pretty
like
young.
yeah, he's like 2 or 3 years younger than me, and not only that, he's only I think been training and fighting for like 3 or 4 years. So
Hmm.
I'm just short of a decade into this. But it was really crazy walking out into the arena and because I've been watching those shows for years. Like
Yeah.
I watch UFC cards and stuff all the time, and I think just walking out and seeing it all in the flesh, like really being there, um, just kind of distracted my mental mindset a little bit. When I went in and fought on Contender Series, that's just at the Apex, and there's only like 20 people in there. I
Yeah.
felt like I wanted to have a sparring session. Like I didn't
Yeah.
feel, I didn't have any nerves at all. But I guess I wasn't too nervous walking out in the Seattle arena either. It was just more of like I was just in awe of like being performing on that platform. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it just robbed a little bit of my skill set a little bit and just distracted me. I think next time I'll kind of know what to be prepared for and stuff. As far as this fight with Polaev, I'm not really too worried about like the arena setting or anything like that because there
In
isn't.
the Apex.
You're gonna have 20
Yeah.
people on the bleachers in there, and then an ESPN film crew. So um, it'll be I honestly I'm kind of looking forward to just going back to the Apex and just pretending that I'm about to go have a sparring session with this guy.
That's the first I've ever heard anybody say they like the Apex. I know it
Yeah,
gets trashed
yeah,
online.
yeah, I don't mind it. I'm not gonna lie. It's cool to just go and see the cage and only have to worry about the fight.
That's
You
true.
don't have
Yep.
to I fighting on the regional scene, especially once you start to make your way up the ladder a little bit. A lot of times you're the last fight of the night, and when you're walking out, everybody's hammered, fucking drunk, just saying stupid shit, and it's just like at that point, you've been sitting in the locker room warming up for like 2 or 3 hours, and it's like you just want the night to be over with. So
Yeah.
it's cool to not have to deal with any of that at the Apex. You just they shuttle you in when it's your time to go warm up, and then you go fight and you're done. So honestly, it'll be kind of a breath of fresh air. I know that's probably different from a lot of guys. They like to feed off the arena and the crowd and stuff. And for me, the less people watching, the better. So
Yeah. I've always wanted to go to an Apex show. I don't like watching it on TV. And it's not because the Apex. I think the Apex is cool. Like hearing every punch, hearing the corner. I think that's cool.
yeah,
For me, the Apex, I like the main events are good. Like you said, Cannonier Rodriguez. That main event, amazing.
yeah, that fight was a masterpiece for Jared Cannonier.
That fight, I was watching it with my mom. We were screaming, "Oh my god!" Like
Yeah,
when Jared Cannonier got dropped in the first round, I was
yeah,
like, "No, please don't die, Jared." I was
dude, I thought
nervous.
it was gonna be a long night for him, man. But just like
Me
the
too.
way he came back and won that fight just speaks volumes to like his longevity in the sport. That's just how he's lasted as long as he has. He's just smart. He makes the right decisions, and he's been in there for a long time, man. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
I think he's like 40 or 41, and he's like still in the
I think
top.
he's for one. Yep.
That's fucking crazy.
Like he's fought Israel Adesanya,
He's
Kyle
fought,
Borralho, Robert Whitaker.
fought everybody.
I'm forgetting people too. He has a fight with Michael Venom Page coming up.
Yeah, that's gonna be
Did
sweet. That's gonna.
oh, I think Cannonier's knocking him out. I'll say it. I think
It would.
Cannonier's KOing MVP.
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise. I'd really like to get out there at the lab and train with them guys. I know they've got a couple other guys that are around my size, and
Yeah,
Coach Crouch, my coach Zach Otto used to go out there and train, so they have a good relationship with the coaching
yeah,
stuff. It'd be really cool to get out there and cross train with them guys a little bit.
yeah. I know. And another thing you said about like walking out late when all these people are punch drunk, yelling stupid stuff. I've been at UFC Jacksonville and UFC Tampa, and I've had floor seats. And both times I've sat around people that just get absolutely drunk I've
Yeah,
had drinks spilled on me. Someone spit on me like on accident, and I was just like, I was watching an Apex card. I was like, damn, I would love to go to the Apex. So I don't
yeah,
know how. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to, but bro, I want to come to your fight on August 2nd. I think
yeah.
that'd be dope.
That'd be cool, man. I mean, I don't even think you can buy tickets for it. I'd love to get you one, but like my girl and my dad, and then I think my brother and my mom are coming. So it's like they give all the fighters, each fighter gets 4 tickets,
Four
and
tickets, yeah.
so
Yeah, because I just turned 18, so that means I could fly on my own,
yeah, there you go.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't think you can do a whole lot of damage in those casinos yet, though. I think, well, maybe you can get in at 18. I thought some of them had like a 21-year age limit or some shit. I don't
no,
know.
I lost some money betting last week. I'm not betting no more. Nope. I lost. It was $25, but Cody Garbrandt messed me up, so I'm done. I
Yeah,
quit. You know, I'll bet on you though. If you're an underdog or I'll bet on you. I'll throw you in my parlay.
I think the odds are probably going to be pretty even with me and you.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think it's going to be a crazy because I think I was like a minus 1,500 against Mansoor or something. But I think with me and Andre both coming off losses, I think it's probably going to be pretty. It'll be pretty low. I might be like a plus or minus 120 or some shit like that. I would imagine they're going to keep us pretty even.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I mean, do you like have a look at it? Are you like, I'm gonna knock him out, I'm gonna submit him, or are you just like, this is just gonna be a war?
You cut out there for a little bit. Can you say that again?
Oh, I said, do you have an official prediction? Like when you look at this fight, you see a knockout, you see a submission, or you kind of just like if I get a finish, cool, but if not, all right.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna. Yeah, I mean, just ride the waves, man. That's kind of what every fight is. I mean, everybody likes to make this game plan on how they're gonna go out and finish the fight. Some guys are really good at visualizing that and carrying through with it.
Yeah,
Never, I've never called how I was gonna finish a fight before I went out and
yeah,
had to go through with the match. I think when I'm in there, I'm just kind of reacting to whatever my opponent gives me, and I'll find the finish one way or another, or just obviously get the judges to score me higher on the card. So
yeah.
I don't like calling how I'm gonna end the fight. Like
I
to
do have a question for you.
leave the
Oh,
lady
sorry, sorry.
side a little bit for that one. Go ahead.
Yeah. With your Mansour Abdul, I need to know: were you planning on throwing a spinning elbow, or was that an in the moment thing?
It was an in the moment thing.
Okay.
So I didn't plan on like, how do I say this? So I felt like in a firefight with him, I wasn't gonna win there. He's stronger and more powerful, and that just was what it was. And so I didn't want to stand. I didn't want to stand in the flames with him. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I definitely was a little timid as far as like actually trying to hit him. But it's because I was trying, and once I had realized that he didn't think I was a threat with the hands and stuff, he started kind of rushing in a little bit more, and I could tell he wanted to really like step into the pocket and do damage to me. And I knew that was just a good time to maybe put something like that out there for
Yep.
him to make him respect the space. And it definitely did that. I mean, it worked for a little while. Yeah, I wish I could have that one back, man. There's just a couple things I would have did differently, and I think I would have maybe just edged it out, or if I would have followed up that elbow a little bit better than rather than just trying to take him down. There was that was a winnable fight for me. The possibility was there to win. It just didn't go my way that night, and I only have myself to blame for that. So,
Yeah. I
but
mean,
I plan on throwing a spinning elbow. I guess I'll just say I planned on taking what was there, and that was there. So
yeah. What did you think of his last fight against Cody Brundage? I need like.
I think Cody Brundage has gotten way better since he's gotten to the UFC. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
he's got a lot of fights, dude. I think he's like 7-5 or something. He's like a 3 contract guy at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
that's tough to do. Um, so with Cody having gotten better and Mansoor being as new as he is, I I I had Mansoor to win the fight. Toward the end of the second round, I was kind of surprised actually at how well Cody was doing, but I still thought that Mansoor was just kind of waiting to unleash that onslaught, and that kind of came in the third, and he got the win. So
Yeah.
nothing against Cody, but as far as I lost to Mansoor, man. I just want him to keep winning now because that just makes my loss to him look better, you know. So
I feel like that
I'm
should be
not
a rule in
I'm not
MMA.
trying to fanboy him or anything like that either, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want him to go lose a bunch of fights now because that just makes my stock look worse, you know. So if it can be a loss that ages well, then let it be a loss that ages well. I
Yeah.
just wish for him to go and keep winning, keep doing his thing, and maybe we can rematch it someday.
Yeah, I mean, are you already looking to get back in there August 2nd? You know, if you get this win, are you like maybe thinking about getting one more? Or are you kind of like, I need to see how I feel after August 2nd?
If I'm uninjured, I want to go back as soon as possible. Yeah, that's
You
kind of
and Cody Brundage.
what's up.
You and Cody Brundage.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a terrible fight, man. I think that'd be a good fight. Looking at the way me and him both did against Mansoor, I don't think it'd be a terrible matchup. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got his style and I got mine. Factory X is a great gym. My gym's a great gym. I think, yeah, I think that'd be a good fight.
Yeah, I mean, if you, and also if you look back at Mansoor's fights with you, Cody Brundage, and I forget the other dude fought in the UFC. But if you look at the Cody Brundage fight, yes, it went to round 3 and yours went to round 2, but nothing really happened in the Brundage Abdul Malik fight. But with yours, I think it's not hot to say that you did the best against Mansoor this far in his UFC career.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I'm the only one to have ever won a round against him. I'm the only. I think I've hurt him worse than anybody else has ever hurt him. I may
Mm-hmm.
look the most mortal, but that being said, it doesn't mean shit, dude. When I didn't win the match, you know. So
Yeah, that's true.
he's a tank, and like I said, I hopefully he just keeps racking up wins and let it be a loss at age as well. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like we've been talking about the middleweight division a lot, which I think just speaks to the depth of it. With even like the selves of like the people like yourself, you and Andre Polayev and Cody Brundage, who are on the lower end of the division, the people in the middle of sort of like, of course, like Mansoor, and then even at the top, you know, we still have yes, Israel Adesanya is losing, but now we have new guys like Nasruddin Imavov,
Yep.
Anthony Hernandez, Roman Dolidze. The
Yeah.
champ Drakus hasn't even been here for this long. I mean, when you look at the whole middleweight division and all the fighters in it, what do you think, or how do you feel this generation of the middleweight division stacks up to the previous generations of like when Israel Adesanya was champ or the Anderson Silva era?
I think it's always getting better and more competitive, and I think it's gonna stay that way.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna always You're always gonna have the next generation of guys fighting and clawing to pull the next guy in front of them down so that they can climb higher on the ladder or
Yeah.
step the mountain a little bit more. You know, I think my opinion with that it goes for any division. You know, as long as the UFC's been around, it's only been harder and harder to get in. It's only been harder and harder to climb the roster. It's only been harder and harder to stay. And I think that's a true. It makes a really respectful testament to the guys who are able to just walk in and climb the division and mop the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Buddy, you know, your Alex Pereiras, the guys like Izzy, everybody who can just come into the UFC and make it look, effortless to just climb the division and stay there and keep picking off top guys. That's hard to do, and there's only a
Yeah.
guys on the planet that can do that. Um, but as far as my opinion to the middleweight division now to what it was, it's harder now than it was, a couple of years ago, and it's going to be even harder a couple of years from now than it is right now. There's always going to be new, younger, hungrier guys trying to come in
Mm-hmm.
and take food off the plate.
Yeah, I mean, I think a perfect example is that the title fight coming up with Drakus and Hamzat. I
Yeah,
mean, personally, I think Drakus is going to get a fifth round TKO. I'm going to call it fifth round TKO. Do you have a prediction for that fight?
I honestly, I seen that it was announced. I think it's just a good fight. I think Drekus presents some of the weirdest obstacles that a fighter can present to somebody. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and Hamzat's pretty cut and dry, man. I mean, he just wants to ring you out and take you down, pummel you, whatever, knock you out on the feet if he can. He's a force, man. Both
Yeah.
guys are tough. I don't ever like trying to pick winners between those fights. I mean, I'd like to think that Drekus can hold it down and keep the title, but who's anybody to take that from Hamzat? He's unbeaten, and I mean, guys like Kamaru made him look human. Gilbert
Gilbert
Burns
Burns. Yep.
made him look human. Yeah, and so I think Drekus is definitely gonna be able to pose Hamzat some serious challenges, but on the same page, he's unbeaten. So
Yeah. I
But
think it's
so is Dricus in the UFC. I don't think Dricus has ever lost in the UFC.
no, he hasn't. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, yeah, it's a good fight, man. I'll be excited to watch it.
I think it's gonna be funny to watch. I think that first round is definitely gonna tell a lot
Yeah,
because Hamzat doesn't have the best gas tank, and I think people at first thought Drakus didn't have a good gas tank.
I think that's his biggest weapon is his cardio.
Yeah, he's able to fake being tired and then come
I,
back and throw
yeah,
like four random combos.
I think Dricus's biggest challenge is that he's strong as fuck and he doesn't get tired. He
Yeah,
looks tired, he's not tired. So
yeah, yeah. I feel like this is gonna be a weird one. I feel like it's either gonna be Hamzat does what he does and gets Drakus out there in round one,
yeah,
kind of like he did Whitaker, just gets him down early,
I
or
think
Drake is just weathers that storm and ends up destroying him in the later rounds.
yeah, I think the Hamza you saw fight Robert Whitaker. I think that fight would have been way different if it was Whitaker 2 or 3 years ago and not Whitaker today. I think
Yeah, yep.
no disrespect to the guy, just I think he's kind of on his way down the mountain, you know. Um, and Hamzat's still good to stay at the peak for a while. Uh,
Yeah,
so I don't think that. I don't want to say I don't count that win. I definitely count that win, but it's not like you fought prime title
Whitaker.
or either, Yeah,
Yeah,
and I think Dricus is too big for Hamzat to just go in and manhandle right away. So
I feel like
it'll be an interesting fight.
yeah, I feel like when you look at Hamzat's win over Whitaker, it's impressive. You broke his jaw with the choke, or like you did,
Yeah,
but Drake is beat him down on the feet. Hamzat didn't do that.
right.
Like the fact that Drake is genuinely beat Whitaker in his like a most elite aspect and didn't have all that much challenge is like this dude's good.
Yeah,
Like this dude could move up to light heavyweight and genuinely do good
yeah. Oh yeah.
if he
I
wanted to.
got the size for it. I mean, how some of those guys make 185 is totally beyond me when they're walking
Yeah,
around 30s and 240s out of camp. I've never blown up that big. I think I've come just short of 220 when I'm not in fight camp, and that's like a good 220. That's not like a fat ass 220. So
yeah,
some of those guys to get as big as they do. I mean, I heard rumors that like Paulo Costa was up in like the 250s range or something. That's it. It blows my mind that they're able
dude.
to cut that much weight and make that 185 mark because I deprive myself as far as I can just to make 185 and I walk around about 210. So I don't
Yeah, I
it was funny like after my fight with Mansoor, a bunch of people like DM me on Instagram. They're like, "Oh, you should really think about moving to welterweight." And I'm like, "I fucking can't. I
no
literally,
way, dude. Nah.
it's like,
Yeah, it's like
oh,
what?
I don't know how Mansoor makes the weight. He's got to be walking around in the 220s when he's
He's
not.
got to be walking around 235. I think he was
He's
like
got to.
233 on fight night last time.
I mean, I felt what he was like when we were in the cage. And he's only heavier when he's not fighting. You know what I mean? So, um,
Dude,
yeah,
Hamzat too.
it
He's like
ain't.
in the 215s.
Who's that?
Hamzat?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that doesn't surprise me much.
Yeah,
I feel like that's a pretty average weight for a middleweight.
mhm. Yeah.
The UFC is anywhere from like 210 to 220. That's pretty regular. I right now I'm like 208 to 210 walking around, and I've
That's
got
not bad.
five or
Yeah,
six.
yeah, yeah.
So, and I won't even start that weight decline until like 2 to 3 weeks out. I'll start to diet down a little bit. So,
Yeah, I always thought it was funny with Izzy. Like, I think there was like two separate occasions when he was champion that he came in at like 282.5 or 283. And I was like,
who
how are you Izzy?
who is he weighed? Is he weighed what?
He weighed like 183 for like weight.
Yeah, yeah.
And I
Kevin,
was like, I
Kevin
think he probably walks around at like 205 maybe.
who Kevin Holland's another one who would fight at 185 but only weigh like 190 on fight night or something. Not just
Yeah,
lanky strong guy, who had a lot of range and stuff and just used his body really well for it. So yeah, some of those guys really aren't that big. Um,
yeah,
I saw Anthony Hernandez in person when I fought in Seattle. He was like the co-main that night, and he's not that big of an 85er. I would say I'm considerably bigger than him, but I mean, clearly he's making his body work well in the middleweight division. He's winning a lot of fights, making a
he's
lot.
elite. Yep.
So
He's really elite. He's good too. He's good.
for
He's a
good. Yeah,
small dude for middleweight. He's not big
just
at all.
doesn't get tired, man. Just stays on, guys.
The thing he did with Michel Pereira will forever be one of my favorite like performances from an up and comer.
That was pretty clutch. Yeah,
Like it wasn't even, I feel like he wasn't even trying to finish him. He just was like, let's give the fans a show.
yeah.
After like round three.
I think Michelle Pereira is just crazy strong for like 2 to 3 rounds, and then a lot of that strength goes away. That's why it's
Yeah.
so bad, and I think that's just when Fluffy was able to sniff out that finish.
Yeah, but I mean, like, man, let's get back to you because you are the guest after all.
Sure.
Um, I was on Tapology. It says 50% of your wins come by submission. So I need to know, do you have like a favorite submission you like using in a fight or training in a training camp? Is it like when
Oh
you look at all of jujitsu?
yeah, my submission is the one that wins me the fight. That's easily my favorite one.
That's fair.
Whichever one wins me the match.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You have one you use in training, like a go-to when grappling in training?
Boy, I don't know. I mean, I think if I had to pick one, just the good old rear naked choke, man.
Fair
It's
enough. Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, it's been in the game for a reason, and I've definitely found a way to kind of implement it when I like, when I can make it work for me. So, if I had to pick a favorite, it would probably be that one. But I definitely have a whole arsenal of weapons that can be used. So,
Yeah, and I feel like with you, because obviously you do have like a little bit of a wrestling background. I was watching some of your earlier fights, and for me, it looked like you take your opponents down. You kind of figure out like what they're gonna do on the ground, and then from there, especially with your fights like right before the Dana White Contender Series fight, it looked like you kind of understood like I know what they're gonna do after being on the ground with them for like 2 minutes, so
yeah,
I'm gonna wear them down, trick them, and once I see that opportunity that they give me and not realize that they give me the opportunity, that's when I'm gonna latch up whatever submission is there. So it's funny you said that.
yeah. Sometimes, yeah. I mean, sometimes it's just a matter of getting them down to the ground, and but they're strong enough that I can't just put the sub on them right away. So grind them out, soften them up a little bit, and
Yeah.
then kind of fit that finish in where I can.
Yeah, I think that's super smart because I know like Dustin Poirier, he just jumps guillotines all the time.
Yeah,
Which we've seen it we've seen it not play to his advantage in the Khabib fight, the Islam fight, the BSD fight. So
sure.
I feel like more people need to understand. Get them to the ground and just see what's there. Don't try to go to your favorite submission because it's your best one. The
Yeah.
guillotine might work, but not work, but the arm
In,
triangle might.
in his defense, he probably lands that guillotine on like 95 to like 98% of fighters. But like when he's just in the cage against the best in the world, like
That's true.
I don't know anyone who's just gonna loop a guillotine on Khabib. So and he pretty close to actually catching
He
Khabib.
did have it tight. That is true. He had it
It's like
on tight.
so in his defense, could it have been done better or set up better? Absolutely. Also, you got to look at who he's trying to put it on too. So,
Yeah.
but I do agree with you.
And also in his defense, Dan Hooker did say that in the third round, Poirier choked him out, but the fight was never stopped. So
That
technically, he does have a guillotine win.
sounds
But
like a very Dan Hooker thing to say.
Dan Hooker's an absolute madman. I
Yeah,
love him to death.
total. Yeah, straight Australian savage. I don't know if he's from Australia or if he's from New Zealand. One of the two.
I think
Same.
he's New Zealand. But they both have like the same type of flag and the same accent. So I
Yeah,
don't get the difference.
it's the same accent, so it's the same place to me.
Yeah, but man, we can wrap this up because I know it is a bit late out at night and you are in training camp. So
Yeah.
I don't want, I don't want to take up too much of your time. But do you have a message?
I apologize. I was the one who was late in the first place. So
It's all good, bro. Don't even worry about it, Don't even worry about it. When you said tomorrow morning, I was like, damn, I'll work and then I literally have to go to the gym because I'm also in training camp.
sure,
So
sure.
I was like, damn.
Gotcha. When's your fight?
I don't have an exact date, but I'm aiming September.
Oh,
But I've just a little backstory. I had a 1.2 GPA going into my senior year.
okay.
So I had to do 17 full year classes within 1 year. I did it. I got the diploma back there, but
Okay.
I missed like 2 months of the gym and I was just inconsistent. So
Sure.
I have to do so I just, gave myself 13 weeks, whatever weeks it is, to really lock in.
Sure. Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, good for you, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. But I'm gonna wrap it up with the question I ask everybody. Do you have a message for all your fans and your supporters that have followed you throughout your career, all the way probably like when you were doing wrestling in high school to right now sitting here in like what can we expect from Nick Klein in 2025, both inside and outside the octagon in the remainder of the year?
Oh man, just I guess just a motivated guy who wants to keep doing what he's been doing.
Hmm.
I don't need to do nothing special. I just want to keep chugging along and just stay committed to the grind I've been on. And thank you to anybody who's been watching.
Yes, sir, man. Guys, that was UFC middleweight Nick Klein. Catch him August 2nd on the UFC at ESPN Plus when he goes and beats Andre Puliev. Catch him there. He's gonna get his first UFC dub.
Hell yeah, I like the sound of that.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks, man.